Hello guys, my name is Eric Arwa. I have more than 10 years experience in helping people win top global scholarships, and today I want to talk about the Chevening Essays. So stay tuned. In the Chevening portal, you will be required to write at least 4 essays. The 4 essays are around networking, leadership, study in the UK, and career plan. All the essays are up to 500 words, and you only have those few words to explain yourself in a clear and concise manner. So this video is going to break down how you are supposed to approach these essays in a proper way. The STAR approach is a very popular method that is used in the West to evaluate how you take actions in particular situations to produce results. So they are used to illustrate skills in leadership, networking, management, and all other forms. You will need this approach in writing your leadership and influencing essay as well as the networking essay. This approach is also very important in job seeking because some of the interviews that you'll be taking in global firms will take this approach. So you need to understand the details of how to use this approach to illustrate or to describe particular skills that you have. A situation is more of a case study example where you are supposed to take actions. So you need to tell us what was happening, when was it happening, who was involved, and why. So you need to bring a setting to can contextualize a case where your actions will be needed. So you need to tell us a situation where there was a big problem that needed to be solved that required your skills. And you need to contextualize this problem in a way that helps the person understand it. A person who is not from your country, a person who has never seen your village. So you need to describe it in formal terms. If it is a village problem, you need to describe it in numbers. How many people are affected by this problem? If it is poverty, how many people are affected? What is poverty in your case? If they live below $2 a day, what does that mean? You need to contextualize it. If it is drug abuse you are dealing with, you need to tell us the statistics on the prevalence, and you need to cite very credible sources, publicly available sources that can be used to evaluate your work. You don't have to paste the websites, but you just need to say according to Kenya Bureau of Statistics, according to Kenya Bureau of Standards, according to the Ministry of Education in Kenya, according to the President's report on this Presidential Task Force report on this year about this matter. You need to talk about things that someone who has never been in your village, who is not aware of your political setting, who is not aware of your education system, is able to understand the situation. So that is what we are talking about here. Tasks are related to what you are supposed to do, what you are in charge of, what you think is necessary to be done, or what needs to be solved. So you need to be able to tell in that situation what actions need to be taken so as to solve this problem. For instance, if it is a drug abuse, there is need for people to know the harmful effects of this drug abuse, because so many people are oblivious of how much harm they are causing to themselves and the society at large. If it was a situation where there was going to be a huge conflict between your village and another village, or your community and another community, you need to tell us the tasks, who needed the kind of mobilization that was required, or what kind of task that needed to be done or needed to be done to solve this problem. So you need to be very specific on what needs to be done. In some situations, it may not be a clear thing because tasks are related to what problem that you have defined. If you have defined a situation where there's FGM, everybody knows that this is something that needs to be stopped. So it depends on how you have defined your situation. So here is where you are going to show that you understand the tasks you have as a person in the position you are in. You may not even be in a position of leadership. You may just be a student who is disappointed with how local people are perpetrating a very barbaric act against the population or against young people, or you are just one of the disadvantaged poor people, and therefore you think poverty must not be experienced in your area. So the tasks are very, very clear, but you need to be clear again so that the person who is reading from afar can tell that you understand what needs to be done. Then we go to what you did. What did you do? What actions did you take? You now need to clearly outline what you did to solve the problem. They need to be actions that are motivated or that are directed by the skill that you wanted to illustrate. For instance, if you are going to illustrate how you are good at organizing stuff, you have organizational skills, you are an excellent organizer, then you need to tell us of a case where you organized an event, you manage the logistics, you mobilize for funds, you communicated with important stakeholders who needed to be part of this event, and then you tell us how many people you brought together and what the event achieved. So the action that you took is that part, that the thing that you did that is motivated or guided or that is powered by the skill that you are talking about. If it is organizational, you need to tell us what you organized. If you are good at mobilization, then you need to tell us what you did to do this mobilization and what you mobilize people to do, and whether they did it. That is going to be the next thing, that is the results part. So you need to pick actions carefully so that they show that those actions are powered by an internal skill that you have as a leader. For instance, if it is a communication, then you need to talk about communication actions. If you are good at collaboration, you need to talk about how you sought the collaboration of particular institutions and people and companies to solve a particular situation that you created. The actions need not to be so many. They just need to be two, or to the very maximum, because you just have a paragraph of just maybe 4 or 5 lines maximum. So you don't need to tell us so many things. Okay. Now, when we come to results, people do not know how to talk about the impact of their actions or their presence in a particular position. You remember when you look at your CV, you are just listing the roles, the job description. Oh, I do any other role that is assigned by the supervisor, or I am in charge of 20 people. You need to talk about impact, the things that you did. You wake up every morning to go and do certain things in your role, and this is very important even in job seeking, but you are not talking about the numbers that come out of your actions. You are not talking about the changes, the impact of the things you are doing. Now, when you have enlisted some of the actions you took to solve the situation that you talked about, then you now need to tell us the impact of those actions. And the impact here is in terms of measurable outcomes, numbers, things, things that you can cite. For instance, if you are talking about FGM, you need to tell us if there is a policy change that was enacted in an act of parliament. Or you need to tell us about maybe you set up a particular center where ladies who are running from this kind of barbaric act were are housed and given a chance at education, and how many of those ladies have you reached. If it is mobilization of people against this act, you need to talk about it. If you are mobilizing around period poverty and period shame, where you see these crazy teachers who find girls who are having their periods and then they send them away, they send them home. Yeah. Like, really, you need to talk about these things in a way that you say that this is what was happening, and you needed to mobilize the Ministry of Education to put a stop to this, and therefore you organize an event. You organize an event and call these people and call these people. Then this event, the Ministry of Education was invited, and they made a commitment, and they ended up setting up a policy that would prevent such kind of acts from happening. If you are dealing with improving livelihoods of people through investment, maybe there's a local investment group that you set up because you think that you hate this idea of people living from in poverty or from paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth in your village. Having contextualized it in numbers, then you talk about how you set up this group, and this group ended up growing their income in legitimate means and ending up improving their investment by this much. Yes, so you need to talk about the results of the actions that you took. Now, I want us to look at the first essay and see how we can use this STAR approach to solve it. Now, the Chevening is looking for individuals who will be future leaders or influencers in their home country. This is the question. Now, they are talking about explain how you meet this requirement using clear examples of your own leadership and influencing skills. Now, I have problems with people here because very many people do not get what this question is asking. They say that you need to explain how you meet the requirement of being a future leader using clear examples of your leadership and influencing skills. Skills, not positions, skills. So what is star about this? You are trying to use clear examples of your own leadership and influencing skills. The clarity of your examples will depend on the situations, the tasks, the actions, and the results of those actions. So they start there. So that's why these people put that phrase there, that clause there. You need to look for situations where your skills were required and how those skills ensured that that situation was made better. So that means you need to do something that would, you need to give examples that make that skill clear to somebody who doesn't know you. So what do you need to do? You need to identify the leadership skill. Oh, some people say I was the CEO of a startup. But being a CEO of a startup is a leadership position. It is not a leadership skill. You need to, some people say they were head boys. That's fine, but that is not a leadership skill. That's a leadership position. Please look for skills. Leadership skills are very popular. They are in the range of time management, organizational skills, communication skills, networking, mobilization, all these things that encompass a good leader. Listening skills, communication, public speaking, teaching skills. These are things that you need to know, but you don't have to list them there and say I have organization skills. No, you can say you have organization skills as an introduction of a topic sentence. You put a topic sentence that you have great organizational skills. Then now you need to give an example where that skill showed up using the what? The STAR approach. That is what you need to do. Describe a STAR case, the situation, the tasks, the actions you took, and the results that illustrate that particular skill in a strong way. Don't just pick cases. Pick things in your life that make that leadership skill show up. It doesn't have to be a big position, because most of our good leadership skills do not show up in situations where we are in big positions. The leadership skills mostly occur in situations where we are most agitated, we are most interested, we are most curious, we are most passionate about certain things. So if we may be passionate about something that we are not even in charge of. Okay, so pick situations that bring the skills strongly, not situations where you were in a big leadership position. This is very important. Examples. So what do you need to do? Let's pick a situation. Let's say I was a I remember there's a guy who was talking about a case where he was in charge of a particular startup on AI. So this AI startup was just struggling, and very many people in his area did not know anything about AI. In fact, he even cited statistics on uptake of AI in small and medium scale enterprises, especially those that required AI to solve their problems, especially problems in predictive analytics. So this guy said that they organized a big event, an AI forum, where big, small and medium scale industry leaders, enterprise industry leaders were called for a small seminar to see how they can use their data to solve the problems that they are facing. And calling more than 40 industry leaders in this area, companies came. And after the event, they got their revenue to improve by more than 30%. You see, that guy has talked about a skill. He was talking about mobilization, how he mobilized 40 company leaders in small and medium scale enterprises that had data that they needed to use for AI. And by this, he brought them into a forum where they could discuss and show them how AI would be useful in their industry, in their companies. And in the process, the result was that their company revenue, his own company revenues, because these companies then signed up for consultancy services with this company and they did for them work, and their company revenue grew by 30%. That is now a clear case of star. It doesn't have to be that big. That is grand. Huh? Take another example of a head boy of a high school where, in a situation where there are rampant school fires in dormitories with students going on a rampage, and there are strikes, people refusing to take the final exam. You can describe such a situation and say there were media reports of more than 70 schools that had been banned. And you are a head boy at this particular time, and there are reports that your school was on the line with some errant students having worked with local people and are planning to ban the school and cause chaos. Now, the problem here is that the students have a particular issue that they want to sort out with the administration. Maybe it is because of bad food, or maybe they don't have an ablution block. You have this idea. Now you need to get out to solve the student teacher or student administration conflict. Your major skill here is conflict resolution. You want to hear both sides, or you are talking about listening skills. You are having listening skills. You are talking about having communication skills or negotiation skills. You are going to negotiate with these people so that they can stop what they had planned. And you say, looking at what happened, your negotiation skills ended up stopping this thing that could have led to loss of property in value, in unknown value, and loss of lives probably. So you need to bring a situation in that manner. That one can even be bigger than being a CEO in a place where you are just running errands. The networking essay is expecting you to explain how you build and maintain relationships. Explain how you build and maintain relationships. These guys are not asking you to tell us how you know the president and the CEOs and big people. No, they are talking about how you do it. If you know the president, you need to tell us the situation where you met him, how you behaved in order for the president to identify you, and how you acted in a way that made the president be interested in continuing a relationship with you in a professional manner. Don't talk about big things that you think. It's just how you build their networks. They don't have to be big networks. They just need to be networks that make your professional life better. Full stop. And again, He's talking about what? Using clear examples of how you currently do this. That is our guy. That is our guy. You remember this guy? I told you this guy is going to be so important in two essays. That is the leadership and the networking essay. So what do? Identify the networking skill, attribute, or habit. I'm talking about skill, attribute, or habit because there are certain things that are not necessarily tied to a particular skill. It could just be a belief. You have a belief that everyone needs encouragement. Like a friend of mine, I'm going to tell you about his case. Huh? Or maybe you have a habit of greeting people, just greeting random people. Or you have a particular skill in communication. You can manage sustain a very long communication thread with people being interested in talking to you. Or you have a specific attribute. You are curious about people's life experiences. So people who are curious about people's life experiences have great listening skills. So you are curious, so you are listening with curiosity to understand. And people, everyone wants to talk about themselves. Even me, if you give me a chance now, I will go on and on and on and on and on about myself. And the more you listen to me, the more I will be endeared to you. So you need to tell us that particular, you need to identify it. Then you describe our guy. You describe our guy. Case where it showed up very strongly. Let's take an example. So you want to tell us a situation where you met someone, because we are not interested in you knowing big people. I've told you, forget about those things. Maybe it is a fellow student whom you thought had particular skills, maybe AI and programming. I have a friend who was so good at programming. He's called Chege. I used to call him a very cool name. Don't care about what the origin of the name. I used to call him Mutu Nyola. The guy introduced me to Python programming when I was in second year. But I didn't know. He was just this crazy guy about Python. And he showed me how that Python was so easy. I need to stop worrying about all those things. And I did not see how this was going to be useful, because I was like, it's too early to disturb myself. But because I took little by little and little by little, now Python is the major skill that is contributing to my PhD currently. So what do? I need to describe a situation where I met this guy and how I took actions to connect with them. For instance, I may have seen him in a WhatsApp group discussing Python, and I sent a text message. Describe that exactly as you see me saying it. I sent a text message and they responded. Then I asked them how they are doing this, and I asked them how they are doing this. Remember, the first thing you need to do is to identify particular key contacts in your networking list. People who have made great impact in your professional life, and then think about how you met them. What made them come to you? For instance, I have a friend who just won the previous year. He has just finished his master's. He described a situation where one of the lecturers he had worked with was facing a big problem organizing a particular event. So in the hustles and bustles of doing this, he sent him a text message. And what he said is that he encouraged this guy that he is on top of things, and this event is going to be big and it's going to change his life in a big way. When he wrote that text, this guy called him to a meeting. He's describing how he currently does it. Then during the meeting, they exchanged some niceties, and then after that, the guy had started a company and decided to make this guy the CEO. And down there he's saying that is the result. He has described a situation where his skill was needed. His networking skill would show up. Then he said what he did. Then the result is that he was made a CEO, which has built him. Because here we are talking about results that the impact of your actions or your networking on your personal, professional life. Or maybe when he's talking about this, he's talking about it in a way that shows that he knows exactly what the question wants. For instance, down there after discussing this situation, he's saying that everyone feeds on encouragement, however big they are. So he's now talking about a belief that he has or something that he has learned out of experience. Remember, we are not talking about just skills. They could be beliefs, habits. So it could be a habit of encouraging people who are in distress. You are good at encouraging people who are facing problems. So you need to say that. Maybe that is what makes your network grow. But you need to mention these people, sometimes by name. If they are heading a particular department, talk about being the head of the department. And sometimes if they are publicly known, just mention them by name. Even if they are not publicly known, there's no harm in mentioning them by name. That will make your essay better than what ChatGPT would write. Study in the UK is a very interesting essay because this person is expecting you to discuss things that you have not experienced, but things that you want to discuss a university that you have not gone to. But they want to see if you actually know where you are going, if you have actually done your homework. This one does not require the star. They are saying that you outline why you have selected your chosen 3 university courses and explain how this relates to your previous academic or professional experience. Now you have chosen 3 universities. Chevening will require you to choose them and the courses you want to do in them. Now you want to explain why you have chosen them. This why, it means that there are so many courses and so many other universities that could have offered those courses, but you chose this one. So what do you need to do? Take the universities one by one with the specific courses you're going to take there, and then find unique attributes of the university and the courses that make it attractive to you. Unique attributes that make that particular university stand out among the rest. They don't have to be the best university in the world or among in the UK or in their league. No, they just need to be to you. It is not to the world, it is to you. Why it is the choice? Because this one is not a world choice. This is a personal choice. It is a personal choice. Maybe there are things you hear about this university that make it so important to you, that make it so attractive to you, but you need to personalize those things you hear. This is what we want to discuss. So can you go to the website of those universities and find the unique attributes? Can you go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT if there is anything unique about those particular universities? Which if you mention, somebody knows that you have done research about them. For instance, if you talk about Carleton University, Carleton is seated just next to me, behind me here is the Rideau Canal that passes through next to my house all the way to downtown. Is a long canal that is known worldwide. It is called the Rideau Canal. Now, this Rideau Canal is only found here. It's not found elsewhere. Canals are found many other places, but Rideau Canal is unique to this place. So you need to use proper names of things that you are talking about. If you are talking about a library, for instance, you are discussing a library that you think you want to go and study in. Then here in Carleton, we have a library called McColdam Library. You need to mention those libraries, research institutions, research centers by name. You have to mention them by name because those names are only found within that university. If they have a specific collaboration with a particular university, that collaboration is just there between that your university and that the university you want to go to and that particular university. You need to personalize this matter and show that this collaboration is going to be useful to you as a person, to you in this case, in your professional life. That's why these people want to see if you know where you are going by knowing where you come from. For instance, you are saying that you want to be a renewable energy expert, but there are certain skills that you still don't have, especially in renewable energy policy, because you came from an engineering field. You don't know much about policy. But among the so many universities, this is the only university that has considered including policy issues in this course outline. So you need to mention that because this is very important to a skill gap that you want to fill. Something I always tell people I commonly tell people is that people are very unique. If you talk about a particular professor who is going to be a course convener in this course you are going to take, and that professor is known for doing certain things that you really admire, it is better you mention that professor by name, that you want to be rubbing shoulders with that guy so that you can learn the skills. And you can even mention some recent things that he did that he has been recognized for, so that you can show that you understand that there is something uniquely attractive to you in this particular university. And that is going to be very important. You can talk about collaborations. If there are annual events, for instance, people in the arts are always very interesting. They're just talking about cultural heritage, a rich culture. If it is a rich culture, can you tell us what cultural activities are attractive to you? Mention them by name. If it is in a city, a particular city that is known for a particular dance move or a dance celebration, a dance festival that happens every year, and that you are going to apply to study dance and maybe theater arts. Can you mention that particular festival by name? Those dance festivals have names. If there's a big theater in a particular city where the university is situated, can you mention that? If the course you are going to take, remember you need to discuss both the course and the university in that paragraph. So you need to say some things that are unique about the university and some things that are unique about the course. One or two. So you need to go to the course. If the course, the department has a particular studio where they are doing 3D printing, talk about that. If 3D printing is a skill that you want to use in your professional life. So those are the unique attributes. Talk about proper names. The career plan is always very challenging because many people are talking about the things that they have been doing and what they want to do. But this essay is interested in specific things because Chevening wants you to go back home and change your community. So they want to see if you have immediate plans upon returning home. Immediately you arrive home, what are you going to start doing? For instance, you want to go and start a company, but you have no experience of starting a company. So why do you want to tell us about an immediate plan on starting a company yet you have zero experience? So what you need to do here is very, very simple. Build on previous experience and training. If you have had a startup before, then talk about growing the startup. Use examples that show clarity. For instance, if you are talking about applying to a particular company, to applying for a job, mention some companies that you think would be interested in the skills that you'll gain in the UK, and how those skills would set you apart among the other people who will be applying for those jobs. Because these immediate plans need to be workable. They need to be feasible plans, things that can happen. You need to, when you are building this plan, you also need to grow to the next level and give us medium term plans. That is maybe past 5 years after coming back. You need to show a global understanding of the needs of your skill, needs for your skill in your field. For instance, if they are talking about equity and diversity, you need to know what the globe is talking about in this area. If it is about renewable energy, you need to know what is happening in the area of renewable energy globally, and organizations that are working on this thing that you may need your skill, that you may want to apply to, or you may want to advance yourself to. And you need to show clear progression. Yeah, immediate plans. You are currently a junior staff in a particular place. UK gives you more opportunity to get into a bigger company or a bigger space, or a higher paying space with more influence. Tell us what you want to achieve in that place, and then you go to another level. How do you want to grow your profession after that? Maybe you want to take a master's in project management as a renewable energy project manager, or you want to get project management certification from PMI. So you need to tell us the things that you want to do to make your career outstanding. Then you have now a more futuristic long-term plan that these guys are looking for. This long-term plan needs to be tied to specific things about you. The long-term plan needs to focus on certain passions that you have, curiosities that drive you, dreams and aspirations that make you tick. And these things need to have some global or continental outlook. So don't just talk about about making a lot of money and being. No, talk about things that make you tick and show that you are going to be a big change maker in this particular area. For instance, if you are progressing, you can say you are going to start working in a particular place to build particular skills and then gain the networks. Then you go to a global setting. Maybe you want to apply to World Bank or Africa Development Bank, or maybe World Economic Forum, or something that makes your career go global, or to pursue a particular dream that has always been in you. Maybe to pursue a PhD and become a globally acclaimed and renowned researcher in a particular field that you think is very important, so that you can build the next generation of leaders in this area. Or maybe you want to start a consultancy that will solve a particular problem that people are struggling with. Or maybe you want to, so many examples that you can give. Those guys are saying, you may. You may. Replace that word with shall. Look around and check organizations that are financed by the UK government in your field, and see how to link whatever you want to achieve in your life in your career to that. It is not may. Shall. There are so many examples, but I've already given some of them while explaining this thing. Now, the idea here is to show progression, that you are coming from this point. These are your initial dreams and your aspirations. These are the gaps in your skills that you need to build in the UK. Then once you have those skills, now what do you want to do? Maybe you want to join a particular company. Mention that company by name and why you think they will need your skill. Mention some too. After that, you can say you may want to work there for a few years, and then go to a senior management role. And why would you be suitable for senior management? Maybe in the medium term, you plan to take management course so that you can bolster your career. And then you need to progress to something more global. Maybe you want to work for more global companies or organizations in your field to solve a particular problem that is in line with your passion. Yes, so those are the most important things, and I'm very grateful for having this opportunity to impact so many lives. So far, I'm counting the 50th winner this year, because last year I had 4 winners. So you are going to be the next winner, and I'm counting on you to do the right thing in these essays.